through that handbook for the recently deceased, it says, live people ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual.
It's March. Are you ready for some weird reads? Hello, welcome if you're new here, or welcome back if you're not to this channel, Goddess of Gore. My name is Vix and I like to talk about horror, thriller, fantasy and sci-fi books. March has only just begun, so it must be time for me to tell you about all of the books I want to read this month. So let's get on with it. I am taking part in one readathon this month, a week of weirds. If you don't know about it, then let me tell you. It will be running for a whole week, starting on the 12th and ending on the 18th. It is hosted by Crystal from Fibre Artsy and Jason from Jason's Weird Reads. They have a few prompts for the event, and I will say that the books I have chosen only very loosely fit these prompts, so much so that one could say they don't. But they are a little strange, so Crystal has said that they will count, and she's even given me a note in case anybody wants to question it. And the prompts for this are: Old Weird, read a weird story written between the 1910s and 1970s. New Weird, read a book from the 80s to the present day. Out of This World Weird, read a book with science fiction elements. Fourth prompt is The Dark, read a weird book with supernatural or horror elements. And the fifth one, Flora and Fauna, read a story featuring nature. So I am reading The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers for Old Weird. This was written in 1895, so a little bit before the specified date, but oh well. Note: it's a short story collection of 10 interrelated stories that explore the despair and madness that affect characters that come into contact with a forbidden play called The King in Yellow. This book is said to have been inspiration for many a horror author, and this book is referenced in music and media, including most recently the True Detective TV show. What is it about? Well, apparently it is about a certain notorious play, a cursed play, a forbidden play that has spread like a contagion across the world. A play in which the second act reveals truths so terrible and so beautiful that it drives all who read it to lunatic despair. Sounds weird. Then I'm going to combine New Weird and Flora and Fauna. I think it has Flora and Fauna in it. There's plants on the cover. With Paradise Rot by Jenny Varl. So Jenny herself is a little kooky.
I need a sweater for an octopus,
shall we say, already, so I imagine her book, and this is her debut from 2009, I think. I think this is going to be equally kooky.
plus I left one extra hole for its dreams and ideas.
It is translated by Marjam Idris, about a woman named Jo who moves to a strange new town for university and lives in a house with no walls, a roommate with no boundaries, and a home that seems ever more alive. Jo's sensitivity and all her senses become increasingly heightened and fraught as the lines between bodies and plants, dreaming and wakefulness blur and mesh. It is described as a complex, poetic and strange novel about bodies, sexuality and the female gender. Weird. Then, finally, if all is going well, I plan to read one more book, and that will be The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. And according to the Discord group for the readathon, nearly everyone will be reading it too. And this should hit the dark and out of the world prompts, according to the little genre thingies that come up on Goodreads. It's pretty much always summed up as one of those weird books, horrific and weird, where people finish it and say, What did I just read? You know the ones. You know what I mean. So this should fit the bill for the readathon completely. A cruel and sadistic godlike ancient man known as Father is guardian to 12 beings with strange powers, and that is all I know. Reviewers say that the characters in this book are excellent, but I don't know. They're all weird books. So that's the only readathon I'm taking part in this month, but I have the usual yearly read, starting with Around the Disc in 800 or so days, and we are reading book 5 and 6 of the Discworld. They are Sorcery and Weird Sisters. So, Sorcery, we are back with Rincewind the Wizard, and of course the luggage is in his possession, my favourite character in the Rincewind books. And this book deals with an 8th son of an 8th son, which is a wizard squared, and that equals a sorcerer named Coin. As a young boy, he walks into the Unseen University and challenges the head wizard to a magic off. Needless to say, the young lad becomes the most powerful wizard in the whole of the disc, but is he too powerful for his own good? And in Weird Sisters, we get to meet not just Granny Weatherwax this time, no, we get to meet Nanny Og and Magrat Garlic. The whole story is a bit of a parody of Macbeth, so the premise is that the king's crown and his child are given by an escaping servant to 3 witches who are huddled over a cauldron one night after the king has been assassinated by his wife and cousin Duke Felmet. The witches hand the baby to a troupe of travelling actors and hide his crown in the props box. They acknowledge that destiny will eventually take its course and that the child, Tom John, will grow up to defeat Duke Felmet and take his rightful place as king. Fun and games will obviously ensue in the usual farcical and silly way, which is the wholesome core of Pratchett's writing that I'm finding time and time again, and why I keep coming back for more. The year of Gaiman books for this month is Smoke and Mirrors, and this is one that I haven't read from Neil Gaiman yet, so I'm very much looking forward to this because it sounds like it is going to be amazing. It is his first book of short stories, and inside this we get transformed from a mundane world into a place of terrible wonders where an old woman can purchase the Holy Grail at a thrift store, where assassins advertise their services in the yellow pages under pest control, and where a frightened young boy must barter for his life with a mean-spirited troll living beneath a bridge by the railroad tracks. Sold. Consider me in and sign me up and all that jazz. And then the Dark Materials book 3 from Philip Pullman with the Amber Spyglass. And this will be the last reread for me because I haven't read past this book. This one follows on with Will looking for Lord Asriel with the things that he collected in the last book, which I don't want to say in case you haven't read them yet. And I just love how this series continues right from where you left the last book pretty much. So there is a war coming, and this will be a race for him to find some of the missing things he lost in the Subtle Knife book before everything kicks off in this final instalment. Where the Book of Dust Part 1 picks up, I'm not sure, so we'll find out next month. Now, that is the last of the year-long series because The Witcher is on a 1-month break, and I'm not going to read the 5 Warrior Angels finale yet because I haven't got the audio book and I want to wait until I can find one. What? Don't look at me like that. I'm not using my eyes on an e-reader for a book that size. It's over 1,000 pages. So The Lonesome Crown is on a pause too for now. The Sweater Weather Book Club, and I have a Discord invite below if you need a bit of a book hug and want to join the monthly reading. For March, the book choice is Legends and Lattes, and I haven't long read this, so I'm going to read one from last year's list that I didn't read, and that is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is about a girl who got partially cursed, and as a result it took away half her soul, and ever since Theodora, or Dora for short, has had no sense of fear or embarrassment, a condition which makes her prone to accidental scandals. Can I use that excuse, Dora? Dora hopes to be a quiet, sensible wallflower during the London season, but when the strange, handsome and utterly uncouth Lord Sorcier discovers her condition, she is instead drawn into a dangerous and peculiar fairy affairs. If Dora's reputation can survive both her curse and her sudden connection with the least liked man in all of high society, then she may yet reclaim her normal place in the world. But the longer Dora spends with Elias Wilder, the more she begins to suspect that one may indeed fall in love, even if they do only have half a soul. Cosy. So that's all of my commitment reading. So what else? Well, my son and I are going on a journey through Middle-earth for the next few months, starting with The Hobbit, reading a chapter a day, my little Hobbit book. There is 19 chapters in this if you wanted to read it that way too, and then moving on to the 3 Lord of the Rings books, but it's The Hobbit, quite possibly my favourite in both the book and the film of Tolkien's, that I adore so much. And if you don't know what this is about, we need to talk. It follows Bilbo, a comfortable, lazy hobbit, as he gets cajoled, shall we say, by Gandalf the Wizard into helping out a band of dwarves who are going on an adventure across Middle-earth to take back the home of the dwarves in the Misty Mountains, to take back what has been stolen by Smaug, the terrible dragon. Bilbo, the reluctant hero, will have to trick the dragon to give up his nest with the help of a piece of jewellery he finds in the damp troll caves. This has everything you would expect of a typical fantasy book. It's a firm favourite. And then, just because 2023 really is the year of series reads, I am starting Karin Slaughter. Yes, I'm going basic biatch and going back to the beginning with Blindsighted by Karin, working my way through the whole lot. Maybe. Karin Slaughter is the classic dark thriller writer, your bread and butter, if you will, to the subgenre. You can pick up her books pretty much anywhere that sells books. The supermarché, those book outlets, charity shops, and your library is more than likely overrun with them. But this is the first in the Grant County series, and the first meet of Lena Adams, the detective who is investigating a grisly mutilation, murder, crime, mystery, thriller, dark thriller. I have read a few Karin Slaughter books, but I've never read them in order, so this will be either really good or really bad, who knows. And finally, what new releases do I want to read this month? Well, Eric LaRocca has The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, coming out here in the UK on the 7th of March. And I do want to try and get to the writing retreat too. The Trees Grew Because I Bled There is a collection of 8 short stories by Eric about the darker side of love, grief, obsession, control, trauma, tragedy. Inside we get stories like a woman who imagines horrific scenarios whilst caring for her infant niece, online posts chronicling a cancer diagnosis, a couple in the park with their small child encounter a stranger with horrific consequences, and a toxic relationship reaches a terrifying resolution. I am imagining the worst from those scenarios given the past books from Eric. Thanks for ruining love, Eric. Thanks for coming, Eric. And the writing retreat, I have heard everyone saying they're going to read it, but no reviews yet, so I'm until I've read it myself. This is about the 5 people at an exclusive writing retreat in the remote estate of Rosa Vallow. 5 authors are selected by the controversial High Priestess of Feminist Horror. Alex, a struggling writer, is thrilled when she gets picked, but upon arrival they discover they must complete an entire novel from scratch, and the best one will receive a 7-figure publishing deal. Alex's long extinguished dream now seems within reach, but then the women start to get bumped off. Oh no. Locked in, Alex is maniacally typing for the publishing deal to die for. So that is it. Let me know what you think of the book choices I have made this month. I feel like I've got some real classics this month, as well as some newer releases and some I've not heard much about before. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to find out more. Let me know what you're most excited to read this month. Thank you as always for hanging out with me today. The fact that you have taken time out of your day to spend it with me is just amazing and mind-blowing. In the next few weeks, I am going to be trying out a new routine, doing weekly wrap-ups and then a monthly best of books as an extra video. I just find it hard to articulate what I thought about the books so long after I've read them, and I find the videos just too long and tiresome, and I'm getting so far behind with wrap-ups. So talking about them as 2 or 3 finished books a week will keep things short and memorable for me. But anyway, I'll try it this month and see how it goes. You'll get shorter uploads more often, I think. So a little quote for the end as always: you are the sky and all the rest is weather. Make some good book choices this week, my friends, and I will see you all soon. Until next time, bye bye.